Buenos días.
Good morning. Welcome everybody. And welcome everybody, either you're here or online. We're more or less 500 people, 500 professionals. And thank you very much to Telefónica and Fundación Telefónica. This is really to create a more human world connecting people, as their motto says. So as I've said before, welcome to this annual conference. And it's a great satisfaction for me because we are celebrating, as you all know, 10 years of history. And first of all, first and foremost, before getting started, I would like to clarify why I've been able to award some of you and the others have it on your jackets. This is not a pin, this is a medal. Among other things, this is the Corporate Excellence Center for Reputational Leadership logo. And as you know, a logo is a way to express the goal of a company. In our case, every single color of this logo represents each key intangible. Everything as a whole is reputation. Reputation is given by others. Others give us the trust, the admiration and respect. This is what we wanted to do with this small medal. This is to give you respect and trust for all these years of working together and all the years that we have ahead of us. This is the meaning that we have. And if you are not wearing it, you have to be, you need to be proud of it. Our name, following with this exercise, is if we get the other's acknowledgement, what do we become into? We become into companies, into people, institutions that are excellent. This is why we call ourselves corporate excellence. So, this celebration, well, I have to say that this 25th of November is Thanksgiving Day, and we need to be thankful for the harvest that we've made with you and that you have made during all these 10 years. And when we speak about 10 years, we need to speak about the present, the past, and the future. Starting by the past, where do we come from? We come from 20 years of history. This adventure started in 2002 when we created the Corporate Reputation Forum. 2 years later, the Intangible Research Institute. And today, we are celebrating 10 years of Corporate Excellence Center for Reputation Leadership. And I have to say, humbling that we've been pioneers. It's the first business company that came together to move on in the excellent management of reputation and intangibles. And it's a matter of pride to tell you that we are kicking off a movement that is inspiring others. In France, they are creating a place like ours, inspired and with a corporate excellence support. So, where are we now? We represent 47% of IBEX 35, but even more. These 10 activity sectors, the not listed companies and the Latin American companies that are with us go beyond these 47%. That is quite an important figure in IBEX 35. And with the access of new companies from Latin America. What about the future? Where are we heading to? We have intangibles, there's no doubt about it. Intangibles are constantly growing. Today, more than 50% of the value and risk of the companies is in intangibles. If we go to S&P 500, it's 90% of its value. And COVID-19, unfortunately, is a context that has multiplied this intangible value. And what has happened? That it has become tangible. More than 25%, specifically 29% of companies' investment during the last 20 years has been made in intangibles. And during this same period of time, the tangible investment has gone down by 13%. So the future is clearly in you. The companies that are here, in the companies that that will be, And in fact, this year's corporations are companies that are celebrating their birthday. 25 years, for example, in the case of IKEA. FMI, a family company in Latin America that represents 40,000 professionals in 15 countries, is celebrating its 100th birthday. And this is hot news, and it's a matter of joy for everybody. We have Repsol again with us, and they are doing this today. So I would like to say welcome to all the friends from Repsol that are here or online. Corporate excellence, as you know, is an open project for every company, for everybody that agree on betting on business excellence. But the future, that future relies on you, on professionals that manage directly these intangibles, or you do it indirectly, or you protect these intangibles' value. Today, it's more than 1,000 people who participate from the corporate excellence companies in the peer-to-peer meetings that, as you know, they are something unique where we can work together, we can move on, we can co-create, innovate, and we have created on your will, out of the 8 hot topics today, we have created 8 topics that peer-to-peers are working on: purpose, sustainability, internal communication, metrics, reputation, risks, sustainability, you name it. There we are. And I've said before, for the ones that manage either directly or indirectly these intangibles, the ones of you that collaborate for these intangibles to bloom, and for the ones that protect these intangibles, what does this mean? It means that corporate excellence is a meeting point for many jobs. I mean, starting by communication management, but also brand management, reputation management, sustainability management, public affairs management, internal audit, fulfillment, risks, HR, financial management, and quality management, just to name a few of the professionals that we are working with very closely, helping them progress in order to understand that intangibles have to be managed in an integrated way in the companies. What has been, I mean, how have we contributed during these 10 years? I think that if we have to summarize these contributions, we could summarize them in a project that we finished last year that was called Company with a Future. What are the characteristics that the companies have in this post-COVID world? And we have found the intangibles that are in the middle of that company with a future: the purpose, reputation, brand, talent, communication, public affairs, and sustainability, the axis that the future company has. And we do not do this on our own, because we've created an innovation ecosystem that I think is unique in the world. We've been able to bring together a meeting point among companies, academia, and advisors. More than 130 alliances. And advisors and academia, using the words from the academia, they call corporate excellence innovation intermediary. This is what we can do. Innovation and doing tangible what is intangible, both in measurement and in training. I can tell you that we have created in 10 years 10 models and tools that are able to manage and measure the different intangibles thanks to these academia and advisors. These are tools that are in the market for everybody. So innovation and education. Education, training is absolutely key. It's impossible to think of a job that deals with something like intangibles that are constantly changing, because we are constantly learning. We need the best professionals to manage these intangibles in an integrated way. And this is why I would like to mention our top program, because I'm seeing some students that have gone through this global CCO that we developed together with Quesada Business School. And I've seen Oriol Iglesias, who is the co-manager of this education program. It's been 9 years. It's not 10 years yet, because it took us 1 year to design it. 180 students with an average of more than 19 years of experience. Together with them, you have in direct education more than 500 professionals. In coordination with other universities and business schools, we have educated more than 3,500 professionals in Spain and Latin America. And we'll launch, this hot news too, and we'll launch an initiative for 2022, according to which we want to build a long life learning program. Because this is not about going through courses, it's about accompanying professionals both in Spain and Latin America and accompanying them in a permanent way. This long life learning program, I think that it will be really useful, and it's the way to welcome professionals in our organization. What have we done? We have grown in terms of influence and geography. We have strengthened this international sphere, spreading what we do thanks to you in 52 countries, have an impact on 320,000 professionals all over the world. Just for you to know some figures, we have, as I've said before, more than 1,000 managers of corporate excellence companies participating in activities, 5,000 users of the Knowledge Center, 7,000 readers of our newsletter, 35 followers on our social media, more than 6,000 contents uploaded in the Knowledge Center, and our reputation handbooks in terms of risks that are written in Spanish. So just to make the long story short, we can speak about past, present, and future without speaking about specific evidences and reality, because we are doing tangible what it's intangible. And that's clearly in how you all are moving on. This is something that we will see in the roundtables. We will see how you've moved on in goals, in brands, in ESG, sustainability, and responsible business. We will see how you've moved in communication and reputation. So just to wrap up, thank you. Thanks to all the speakers for sharing these experiences, for participating in such a special day. And I think that this is the ideal way to represent who we are, why we're here, and what we believe in. Thank you especially to our sponsorship that is represented here by our president, our vice president, without the support of which corporate excellence would be here. And of course, thanks to the great working team that is always working with me in the foundation. It's 7 of us and 3 scholars. We have 7 different nationalities because we've organized our resources according to our project. It's a very ambitious project to reach the whole Latin America. This team, speaking about the future, is the one that guarantees the future and next 10 years. This team is managed by our 2 managers, Clara Fontan, Saida Garcia and Clara Fontan. Saida, our institutional development manager. Clara is our intelligence and knowledge manager. And besides the great work they do, although either you believe it or not, they have a PhD cum laude during these years. Saida in country's reputation and Clara in brand and narratives. And you have my strong commitment as far as I deserve your trust. So, without further ado, we will listen to our president, Eduardo Navarro, who is the Corporate Affairs and Sustainability Manager in Telefonica, and we will have Maria Luisa Martinez, the Communication and Institutional Relationships Manager of CaixaBank. Thank you very much.
Buenos días a todos que nos siguen de forma.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody that's following us. Hello to everybody. Hello to our sponsors. Hello to every company that is part of corporate excellence. And a double welcome. Double welcome to to my place, your place, Telefonica. I've been working here for 22 years. And I would like to welcome you as a corporate president that I have the honor of chairing in this 10th anniversary. This is a very special conference, because we are celebrating a great success of 10 years of history in corporate excellence. Something that was born, well, the idea was born 10 years ago with the Reputation Forum, and I think that maybe we had a vision there, and maybe nobody's putting that into question. But 10 or 20 years ago, it was something that maybe we are visionaries. There's something key today. We can't. I mean, there's nothing more tangible than intangible, in times of change, in transition times with uncertainty, pandemic, climate transition towards what we are doing today. There's nothing more tangible than reputation, trust, brand. I mean, the company that doesn't have it or doesn't have them has no future in this fast world. So we are here to celebrate 10 years of corporate fulfilling its mission to make tangible the intangibles, to celebrate with the companies that are part of our group, that are really supportive. It doesn't matter whether we are competitors or not. We are here to make companies better as a whole and to help them build a better world. And I think that we are very proud of all this. I would like to congratulate the 3 companies that we welcomed this year: Asemi, a great Latin American company, and we don't have to speak about them, and Repsol, that is going back home. And we are very happy with this. I would like to finish this introduction congratulating our general manager and the members that we have here, the 7 members that it seems that they are 700 or even 7,000 because of the great quality work that they do. Congratulations to you all. Congratulations to everybody that has contributed for corporate excellence to reach its 10th anniversary with the power, the reputation that it has today. And there's no better way to celebrate that as we're going to do it, with the spirit, the collaboration spirit, the contribution spirit, sharing experiences that makes corporate what it is. And it's great to have 4 roundtables with brilliant people that represent companies that are part of our network. So thank you very much for making corporate be what it is. And the good work that we're celebrating today, this is the result of everybody's work. Thank you very much, and congratulations to you all.
Buenos días a todos.
Good morning, everybody. I would like to say congratulations to the corporate team. I've admired the corporate team for many years, and especially for the opportunity of being part of the sponsor and of this Spanish think tank. Well, good morning, everybody. And I would like to say thank you to all the speakers that will participate at the different roundtables, and it will be the most enriching part because they will convey their experience and their expertise, and they will put at our disposal all the valuable experiences and examples that they live every day in their companies. I would like to say thank you to you all for coming along, because truth to be said, a company as corporate excellence, as I see it, is possible thanks to its partners, thanks to the people that follow it, and thanks to make all the activities much bigger and every event and every situation that happens. Reputation, without any kind of doubt, has become into an essential asset in the companies, and this is, I mean, this is something important. It's in every handbook, and the ones that are at the top management live this every single day. It's a strategic asset, and it's very important for companies to make the difference. This is key, to make the difference, to generate trust, but especially to create low social legitimacy, to operate in every sector where we move in as companies, but especially to try to help in the company to attract investments, to retain customers, and especially to offer our employees that are one of our main stakeholders everything they could need. In this digital economy, I will only give some details. The truth is that the investment in tangible assets has gained reputation, relevance, and I think that it has made our task even more important. To me, it is the key lever to generate profit and to make our companies grow. Well, you would say, well, she's speaking about her book, and it seems that this is what she has to say. So that's not true. Today, 54% of the value of the 5,000 more important companies that are listed in the world, I'm not speaking about something subjective, this is something tangible, comes from this value comes from its intangible assets. This is what the Global Untouchable Tracker from Broad Finance Information says. As you know, it is one of the most well-known companies in this kind of information. I firmly believe that is in this economy of reputation and intangible, the Chief Communication Officer, the CCO, that Angel and Eduardo were speaking about, they will lead a key position in the future of organizations. Maybe right now, if you tell me, well, when is this going to be? When is this going to happen? I think that as soon as possible, or really soon, this figure will play a key role. Why? Because decision-making process goes through this position in which, as you all know, listening to the social aspects is key. And I think that it has taken more relevance after the dramatic crisis that we've lived, the pandemic, the post-COVID times, where everybody that is managing intangible assets has had to face a crisis that nobody was expecting, and we had no handbook that gave us information to manage it. So as society, we are going through that health crisis, and we are also in an economic crisis and maybe a social crisis, and I would dare to say that it's an institutional crisis too. A new crisis in which every change has speeded up, and we are seeing changes in politics, in the values of our company, in human relationships, in information consumption that is more digital, more AV. I mean, really profound changes that maybe were forecasted for the future, but they have taken a leap in time. In parallel, we are transforming a world in which the vision that we have about citizenship, that lobbies, I like to speak about consumers, about citizens, they have a totally different role in companies. The approach of the companies towards citizens, towards these lobbies, has changed. And this is very important, and I'm sure that the roundtables today will be really enriching, and they will speak about this, I'm sure. We need to be aware that we are going through times in which social disaffection and social scrutiny is increasing. Citizens will request socially responsible management. We need to have a strong commitment with sustainability because, well, let me tell you, sustainability, well, it seems that it is in the middle of many of our narratives. We need to take into account diversity and social inclusion because of what I was saying, because of what the health crisis has meant. transparency will, dialogue capacity, a dialogue that has to be transversal both internally and externally. We need to be able to talk constructively. As Eduardo was saying, now we need to understand each other. And the big companies, the ones that are, they seem to be ahead of us, are on this picture. We shouldn't look for rivalries. We should combine every single strategy for a new social context that would emerge out of the biggest crisis that we had never foreseen. The World Economic Forum has considered as stakeholder capitalism. And this is a new way to see how the world and how the ones that are managing big companies have to face all this situation. The business leaders are asking us for being open-minded and to generate value for the lobbies. Now, it's not about one or two or three or to set a hierarchy for these groups. Most of them will relate themselves inside, outside, and they exchange opinions at a great speed. We were sharing our daily tasks a while ago, and it has changed dramatically. In light of this new reality, I'm sure that you all know it, and I'm sure that you know this much better than me. I'm sure that the communication professionals, well, I prefer to speak about intangibles. What Angel was saying at the beginning of this new long-term view, we need to strengthen our strategy role. And I would like to highlight this role because we are living consciousness. These seem to be overwhelming words, but we are living awareness of, living consciousness of companies. We have to be very accurate, and we need to observe our environment in an analytic way. This doesn't mean that we are gurus, and this doesn't mean that we are the new humanistic thinkers. We need to have a holistic point of view, and this should help our management bodies, especially the ones that are part of the management committees, help convey the understanding of this new social beating, where we stimulate our committees or governance bodies to go through the adaptation process of these companies because of this environment. And we need to be the spokespeople. It doesn't mean to appear on radio, television. Maybe our protagonism should be more discreet than ever. But spokespersons, in order to convey in a very clear way the corporate purpose, the long-term strategy, the short-term is dead. We need to look on the long run and how the people's well-being will be benefited out of all this and the social progress, because out of this health crisis, unfortunately, we will find many social problems. We can't use hollow words. The easy creative marketing is over. You had a creative guru that made a great campaign, and that was it. So more or less brilliant slogans, but maybe they could not resist time passing by. Because as I've told you, the lobby's empowerment is increasing. And the scrutiny makes these campaigns are weaker if we don't have a consistent reality behind them. If our and our task will depend, without any kind of doubt, that this social dialogue is fluent, constructive, integrative, and especially it has to convey trust. In this 21st century, this is one of the most precious aspects. It's a humongous task because it's even, we need a Superman or Superwoman to lead all this. It's extremely relevant, and we will need specialized education. Corporate excellence is an excellent training platform. I mean, I'm always paying attention to everything that I receive. They are always in the state of the art, and this is key in our career. They are always progressing in many aspects. They are setting future elements both in financial and non-financial terms. And I reivindicate corporate excellence to see the role that it's playing in our transformation as professionals. And I would like to put Global CCO into value, because I was part of Global CCO. I was the second promotion, out of which I have many, many friends, among them Clara, that was really a woman with a great talent, and she has a very long career ahead of her, and it has 180 professionals. I learned a lot, and I've applied it on my professional career because it gave me that holistic and polyedric view of what the profession is. It's just an example, Angel, because you do many, many things. And it seems that we have learned everything, but we have to relearn every single day in a very humble way. Well, I'm sure that these and other topics will be tackled by our guests today. Top guests, because they are part of our teams. They are the legacy that we have, and I think that it's a unique opportunity to know the experience of everything, of how we've progressed and the new challenges that are to come. So thank you very much. Thank you, Eduardo, for welcoming us. Thanks for being so generous. And thanks to Angel and its team for the great task and the great work they do. Always willing to help when we get in touch with you, always paying attention to the state of the art. So thank you very much. Congratulations and a great success. And I hope that we can be here for many more birthdays, reivindicating corporate excellence. Thank you very much.
Ahora a continuación.
So now we're going to show a video before we start with the round tables and our hosts and guests. So let's start with the video and then we can move on to the round tables. Thank you. Intangibles grow in value. They're growing in investment. Due to the need to manage these intangibles, we created this forum. In 2011, this gave rise to Corporate Excellence Center for Reputation Excellence. I would describe it as an innovation accelerator, knowledge, reputation, and intangibles management. 10 years have gone by, leading by reputation, making intangibles tangibles, boosting companies to make them more responsible, more authentic, more innovative. This is the speed of transformation. Intangibles. The economy of intangibles means that stakeholders, consumers, customers, investors, regulators put a higher scrutiny on companies. Companies have to be able to listen to the different stakeholders, connect to what matters to them. There's no going back to the old story, only profits matter. Capitalism is evolving. It is long-term stakeholders capitalism now. Reputation can be good or bad depending on commitments, capacities, and the way of generating confidence. It is the primary driver of reputation, and our reputation is the feedback on how well you are accomplishing that purpose. The difference is related to intangibles. We have to care for them, measure them. If we don't integrate these ideas with regard to intangibles, the reputational risk will not be taken into account, and you won't be developing the value of the company as you should. We have an ecosystem of co-creation, innovation, collaboration that is unique in the world. It is allowing us to generate innovation and relevant knowledge. As a consequence, it allows us to transform the profession of the chief communications officer to be able to build excellent companies. We have universities, companies, consultancies, different personalities that bring value. I never thought we would be able to have so much knowledge in this wonderful ecosystem. It is an open space, collaborative space, a space for innovation and state-of-the-art. To train professionals with this vision is incredible. The program allows us to train people with strong knowledge on brands and reputation. It has made a major contribution to the business world and has allowed us to understand the importance of intangibles value. It helps organizations participate in the construction of a better world. Professionalization, corporate excellence has represented the peer-to-peer support. As managers, we are better managers. We are making intangibles tangible. Thank you. Thank you for leading the reputation revolution. Without corporate excellence, this wouldn't be possible. Are you ready for what's coming next?
Bueno, a continuación,
let's now move on to the protagonists of this story, professionals that are managing intangibles in their organizations. We've organized 4 main roundtables with regard to different factors that are essential with regard to intangibles. Marina Marisma is going to be summarizing the main ideas of today's event and help us make tangible all the knowledge that we're generating here. At the end, we will be building an illustration that will allow us to convey the knowledge that we're sharing here. Before moving on to these roundtables, for our team, it is an honor to be part of this project and to generate impact. I'm talking on my behalf and also on the behalf of all the management team of Corporate Excellence. Without further ado, we will move on to the first roundtable, Corporate Purpose. It is the round table related to the roadmap for companies. It explains why we do what we do, and it sets the frame for decisions, behaviors that are part of an organization. To be able to dive into this concept and the challenges associated to the building of these purposes that generate engagement, we have Luis Gomez, Presidential Senior Advisor of Iberdrola. He will be the moderator. Maria Campo Bernal, Brand Reputation Sustainability Manager from Ibercaja. Mel Garcia La Miguel, Deputy Director of Communications, DKV Seguros. And Maria Luisa de la Peña García Franco, Head of Corporate Marketing and Brand from Naturgy. So please come up to the stage.
Buenos días a
Good morning to everyone. Let's move on to the round table straight away. I would like to thank corporate for their work as a member of this organization. In 2002, we launched this project. 4 companies were part of that. In 2010, we were 10 companies, and we saw that reputation was not only something that had to be measured, but also had to be considered as part of intangibles. As Ángel has explained, we merged 2 institutions to create this new organization. With this value, with the 20-year experience, we are here. I would like to thank Saida and Clara. They were at the corporate forum years ago, maybe as part of scholarships, and now they're real experts. And of course, Ángel, I've known him for many, many years. He always says that reputation was invented by other people, but I think that Ángel has probably had a say in all of this. In 2010, those of us who were part of the forum, Corporate Excellence, we saw that we had to study the situation. We undertook a project with the business student of Instituto de Empresa to be able to focus and study reputation. We did this in large Spanish companies, and I'm just going to share with you 4 data. This was published in 2002 in a specific report, and then we organized a seminar in Repsol in offices that they had in Castellana, and in those days, we're talking about more than 9 years ago, only one company in IBEX 35 had reputation within the board. In 10 companies, the concept of reputation was explicit. Only 6 companies had specific risk committees. Only in 15, they were talking about reputational risk in their annual report. In 12 companies, the reputational risk was included in other reports, and 66% of large companies had no information on reputational risk. In 9 years, the evolution has been absolutely incredible. In this regard, I would like to remember those former companies, those companies that were former members of the forum, pioneers, and I would like to talk about those days when we initiated this change towards corporate excellence. BBVA, Repsol, Telefónica, Albertis, Ferrovial, Gas Natural Fenosa, Iberdrola, Iberia, Renfe, Metro de Madrid, Solmelia, Adif, and Casacorp. Most of them are still with us, except for some publicly owned companies that, for different reasons, had to leave the forum. Why are we here? It has to do with purpose. Purpose is a new word. It seems that we are talking about purpose nowadays a lot in the world of companies. It is fashionable, but at the same time, we're not using it properly in many companies. It's not clear when we started talking about purpose. Mr. Friedman was one of the creators with regard to this concept. In 1995, he said that the true purpose of a company is to serve as a vehicle for stakeholders. So it's not only about making profit, but also serving other purposes. Until 2015-16, this concept was extended, and then in 2018, certain pillars were established. We have the CEO from BlackRock letter with different comments. And those moments in 2018, he said that a company without purpose, whether public or private, will be able to obtain his objectives related to the fulfillment of this purpose. The Business Roundtable in the US redefined purpose, and it was signed by many corporations. Companies were going to take this very serious from then onwards. Let's remember that we're talking about 2019, so yesterday. The purpose to generate growth is essential. And we have to have larger purpose associated to brand growth. According to Gartner Consulting, among more than 20,000 consumers, purpose has to be clear. The main principles associated to purpose establish that brand value can increase 170% if the purpose is established. 66% of those who work in marketing consider that the organization has a clear purpose, but only one out of 10 have a very clear purpose established. Only 1/3 considers that within the company, purpose belongs to all the company. And with regard to millennials and centennials, they're turning into the driver of the world, prefer brands that have purpose and significance associated to them. In this study, and the study undertaken by the other companies, purpose has to do with three main elements. One, articulation, the investment, the time, the effort to be able to create this purpose for each company. Second, the internal infusion within the company so that everybody knows for which purpose they're working. And then thirdly, extension to interest groups. Right now, the model is balanced 80% articulation, 20% on the other aspects. This is something that we have to change. We need to turn it around. This is very important. Many companies are still in the hands of marketing teams. All the things that we do leave a mark in stakeholders. It is a present and not only a future. Without further ado, I'm going to start this round table. Eva Piera from Mafre has apologized because she can't be here. We've got 4 companies that are going to be, their representatives are going to be talking about purpose. Long experience. Approximately 3 million companies in Spain are SMEs, and 50% of these only have 5 employees. Large companies are drivers to be able to convey information to the others. It is said that approximately the average duration of a company in Spain is 12 years. And if we sum the experience of all these companies, we have 570 years. What are the advances that have taken place with regard to purpose in the last years, and what are the challenges that lie ahead? In the case of Iberdrola, it is true in 1901 with the creation of Red Eléctrica Española. Is now Naturgy was created in 1894 in the US. In 2018, we decided that it was the right moment to make a change, to be able to focus on purpose. For this, we created a steering committee with all representatives of interest groups from different countries, along with managers. All of this coordinated by Ana Landolin, responsible for stakeholders' relationships. As I said, we were working on this for many years. In February 2019, the board approved this new purpose as part of the values of the company. It is one of the most important topics. The board approved this purpose. It was turned into the shared rule for everyone. Right now, the pillar of our governance and sustainability system, we included this in the bylaws, and this has to do specifically, we also have a specific document on purpose. What is the main topic? With regard to articulation, I think we've done a good job, taking into account different countries. Internal dissemination, we've also done this with strong focus on internal relationships, but we still have to increase the extension with regard to interest groups in all different countries. We have in our company 8 interest groups, and to manage these groups with different districts, energy, value, etc., is quite complex. Articulation, we think that we've done this properly. Internal dissemination, the infusion, as it is called, we still have to improve quite a lot. But since 2019, we have launched this process. I would like to, first of all, introduce Maria Campo Bernal, Directora Brand Reputation Sustainability Manager from Ibercaja. Within her functions, she talks about helping people create the purpose of their life, and without further ado, I will give her the floor. Good morning to everyone. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Corporate. I'm delighted to be here and to be able to talk about intangibles. Purpose is essential. If we look backwards, the evolution that Ibercaja has followed with regard to intangibles management is a long road. We had corporate as support at the beginning of this journey. Congratulations on this anniversary, but it was essential for us. Ibercaja has 145 years of history with a clear purpose from the beginning to boost saving, to help develop territories, and this is very present in our spirit. We've focused now on this corporate purpose. This was decided at the highest level, at the board, and we saw the importance of purpose as a driver for differentiation a long time and to be able to bring value. With this decision, we defined a purpose. In our case, it was in 2018 too, and we defined this in a sentence that could be inspiring, aspirational. Why we work? What is the final reason for Ibercaja to exist? Each of us who work at Ibercaja, we have to get up in the morning wanting to do the best possible work. This is what we established. Our purpose is to help people build the story of their lives. This will be our story at the same time. This is how we close the circle. Apart from defining this purpose, there was an important significance attributed to it. This is when we defined the strategic plan. This is something that we made ours. We worked with an internal team. It shows what is behind Ibercaja. And as I said, the purpose, the foundations to be able to align the strategic plan objectives of 2018. This was the important element within the construction of this purpose. Challenges that lie ahead. We're right now in the activation phase, so that the purpose is really a generator of value and that really sets a difference with regard to our competitors, is to make this purpose a reality. We're now working on a new strategic plan with different lines. We've got culture, and then we have purpose and sustainability, and that's what we're doing right now. Our challenge is that we need to have a true impact, and our value proposal for customers also has to convey this purpose in the interactions with our customers, with society, the way in which we work in the bank. This is done in a cross-cutting manner. We've got a culture project. We're working on this aligned with the purpose and defining behaviors that answer to this purpose and reflect this in a kind and different types of relationships. Purposes are made real through the interaction with others. And we're also working on our value proposal for clients with the collaboration of the marketing and corporate areas. This is a long-term project, and it is a company project, as I was saying. So thank you. Thank you very much, Luis. Maria, thank you very much. If we have questions, we can answer them at the end. Now we're going to give the floor to Mel Garcia La Miguel. He is the communication manager of DKV Seguros, a company created in 1930s. They consider that they have a big responsibility towards people, and they are healthcare activists. And for this reason, health is a social construction that has to do with social mobility. They have a clear, activated purpose. We strive for a healthy world is their motto and their purpose. Thank you very much, Luis. Thank you for your words. Thank you for inviting me to Corporate Excellence. The first question was referred to the last decade. I have to go further back, and I'll be quick, don't worry, but it is true that from, well, in the last 25 years when DKV arrived in Spain, we had the vision, the mission, and the value of creating a statement for all the organization that would act as a reference for interest groups and to be able to explain what is really important. We didn't call this purpose in those days. It was just a sentence that was present in the day-to-day of the company that had to do with importance and ideas. It was used by everyone to be able to talk about what's happening in the company. We created this sentence. We like people. This is why we want people to have a better life. This presided every day of the company for about 8-10 years, and then taking into account the evolution of the company when we had to create a new strategic plan, the society and the world had changed, and we had to focus on this statement that we considered a purpose. Really interested in you was this new sentence. We wanted to highlight the human factor, the importance of relationships above transactions, and we thought that all of this was related to the importance of listening to interest groups and stakeholders and trying to give answers to these needs. We worked on this internally for several years with the interest groups with this statement in mind, and 4 or 5 years ago we created that sentence. We strive for a healthier world, and we started working on these values in a more systematic way. We defined specific commitments to deploy the purpose, and we set drivers to be able to follow up on this deployment. We reported on this within the sustainability reports that we published. Recently, we have launched an innovative study together with the University of Navarra to be able to measure different elements, also responding to the needs of our interest groups. And the result of all of this is that the purpose is in good shape. We've also been able to study different drivers with regard to the future. For the last weeks, we have reformulated this purpose. I know that purpose has to be associated to a long-term vision, but I think that purpose also has to adapt to the organizational situation, the society, and the group. And we've decided to formulate this global purpose. And due to this, and considering that we are launching a new strategic plan, we've reformulated this purpose. Together, we work towards a more healthy humanity. As you can see, these purposes have common aspects. We try to focus on people. We try to focus on offering solutions so that people can lead a healthy life. In the future, well, we want to share this new purpose within the organization, and we're organizing workshops, internal initiatives in this initial phase. And then what awaits us, and this is something that we want to do, taking advantage of the learnings from previous processes to connect this with the management model, with projects, with strategic initiatives, and the proposal of value, with what makes us different: products, services, reputation, brand. And this is where we are right now. Thank you very much, Miguel, for your comments. We're now going to move on to Maria Luisa de la Peña García Franco, Head of Corporate Marketing and Brand of Naturgy. They only have 175 years of experience, but what is more important, Naturgy last Friday presented its new purpose, working together. They've reviewed different values based on excellent driver, vision, and one planet that has been approved by the board of Naturgy. They've done certain recent changes.
Congratulations to corporate on these 10 years, and thanks for the service that are doing intangibles even bigger. The truth to be said is that, well, this is very recent in Naturgy. We launched it last Friday externally, but with a very low profile, with a press release, because we think that these are our facts and initiatives, the ones that have to make this purpose come true. It was within the organization, and what we've done has been to find the way of verbalizing it. And this is what Maria Luisa was saying. We are in an extremely complex world where the active listening to our lobbies is key. And this listening is telling us that big companies have to lead the change that the world needs. And what people are asking us is to lead this change from our values, from our purpose that has to be committed with society, and that speaks about commitment with society and shows our commitment with environment. And they were asking us for this at external, but also internally. In Naturgy, we have been through a very strong transformation that was started with the arrival of our president in 2018, with important efficiency plans at internal level, and we needed to align the employees with the new strategic plan that we've also launched before summer. Our strategic plan 21-25, and to make them commit themselves. And we needed that purpose that could stick all of us together, and that could commit everybody towards the same goal. And the process that we followed was, as my colleagues have said, an internal process. We didn't use any consultancy agent, consultancy company, or well, we created a working group with the brand area, the HR, the customers area, and some others, and we got some employees involved, 200 to be specific. And as a result of this internal exercise, we set a diagnosis that we compared externally, and we saw that the way to summarize this purpose was transforming together. We tested it, and transforming together, that is our new claim, what summarizes our purpose. Still, as I was saying, well, I'm sure that you haven't seen it in our communications because we will make it come true step by step. Well, it speaks about a transformation at its highest level towards renewables. Of course, we need to focus and we need to tackle energy transformation towards digitalization, and we need to reinvent our relationships with the customer. And it speaks about a transformation in the way we are committed with society. And if we quote it literally, our goal is to transform the world through energy, tackling firmly and strongly the society demands, working with transparency with a committed team. And the values that land this purpose have already been tackled by Luis. This is forward vision, people-oriented, one planet, and excellence-driven. And we're very proud of this purpose. We have commended that internally, and we need to make this happen with initiatives like our commitment rate that we've launched in the market with a fixed rate that was previous to the price increase. And we are applying this proactively in all our customers, as we did with all our COVID initiatives. Our facts have to respond what society needs, and this is how we have to shape this purpose. And the big challenge that we have ahead of us is the commitment of every employee to work on this purpose and to make it come true, and the consistency of our actions, because we think that only this way we'll be able to be trustworthy in the market, and it will be an attractive purpose for every people. Okay, so thank you very much. And we have a clock here and in red, and it says that we have 28 seconds. So it's the first time that I'm moderating a roundtable, and we are sticking to time. And you have all the time you want. And I'm giving you 16 seconds for the next roundtable. Thank you.
A continuación profundizaremos en la gestión de la marca.
Now we'll deep dive in the corporate brand, understood as the relationship platform with our lobbies. We have Rafael Fernández de Alarcón, brand and manager of Telefónica, who will moderate. Enrique Rivas, corporate marketing manager and brand manager of Banco Santander. Federico Segarra, communication director of DAM, and Daniel Brenner, transmedia contents manager of CaixaBank. Please.
Perdón. Pues os he invitado antes de tiempo.
No, I've invited you before expected.
Bueno, es cuestión de segundos y por mantener un poco el protocolo COVID-19 que todos conocemos.
We'll just to keep the COVID protocol.
Sí. Rafa, Enrique y Federico, Daniel.
Rafa, Enrique, and Federico, just to moderate, as you're four, you can wear your mask off if you feel more comfortable.
¿Siento?
Bueno,
well,
Buenos días a todos. Menos mal que soy el de casa y me he saltado todos los protocolos. O sea que.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning. Angel has asked me to moderate this table because I belong to one of the companies that has more brands, Telefónica, Movistar, and Autos and View. And I'm going to make a very brief introduction, but I would like to say thank you to Corporate Excellence because everything that we've learned. I'd like to thank some of my bosses that are the ones that started this adventure with Angel, Luis, Alberto, now Eduardo. That gives me the opportunity of working with you every single day. And thanks to the round table that is with us today to explain how important brand is, I would like to reivindicate the first promotion, that we were some kind of guinea pigs. And we would like to encourage you to send your teams to this courses. You learn a lot and you create a great network. That is key in recent times. They say that brands is a shortcut in consumers' mind to make decisions. So let's take this shortcut. And I'm going with Enrique. The first question, well, Santander brand, one of our most international brands. How did a brand from Cantabria was able to become one of the most important banks in the world? Well, thank you, Rafa, and thanks to Corporate Excellence. It's funny because Angela and Eduardo, when we speak about Corporate Excellence, everything speaks about education, everything that we learn together and how we move on in this intangible world. I feel really proud. I feel really proud of having participated on all this, and I'm happy to have developed Santander brand. But if you think it has a very short life cycle, in 2004 we have more than 40 brands all over the world, and Santander was only here in Spain. And in 2021 Santander is number 74, for example, of the 100 best global brands in the world. You see Santander brand, and it generates it feels you proud of belonging to the company. And this is a key element for us. But not only that, I remember then when we were all watching F1 and you saw the Santander brand at the UK Grand Prix, it was like, hey, Santander, and Spaniards, I think the brand like Telefónica, Santander, and many others, we feel proud of seeing how companies go abroad and are successful and are a flagship. And I think that the credit has to do with the fact that the brand has always been considered by Ana Botín and before by Emilio Botín as a very important asset of the bank, together with the culture, the two sides of the same coin. It has been considered as a critical asset in the bank. When you see the business model of the bank, the brand is there, and it is in one of the squares. I mean, the brand model is there, and it combines both global and local spheres, as it can be otherwise. We had 40 brands all over the world, and we have made a very quantitative travel in order to expand the brand, to create awareness, to create knowledge, expansion, and to work on attributes like internet, like globalness or robustness. And now we're working on relevance and on a local scale, and this is something that we go hand in hand with countries. And it is a very chaotic model sometimes, but sometimes you see it with some perspective, and it's perfectly synchronized. Juan Erquicia is there. He's the person in charge of branding in our team, so we contribute this brand level of elevated brand, of great speech and sharing space with very relevant brands, and the countries are contributing this connection with the customer, getting to know the customer and fulfilling the local expectations. And that's it. I'm going to be very brief. I'm very proud. Thank you, Rafa, for the question, and I'm really willing to learn from all of you. Thank you very much, Enrique, and good luck in the following steps, because we are always paying attention to see what you can do. So, we have a brand that is part of our lives. I think your industry is a very good industry because we consume it for fun. It's different than going to the bank to pay the telecommunications bill, but you've been able to position yourselves in the consumer's mind with the concept that is that is really Spanish, and sometimes we forget that there's a brand behind. How you've been able to make DAM such a big brand as it is today? Well, I would like to say congratulations to Corporate Excellence and to the creator of this project, that is Angela Diosa. He invited us to join Corporate Excellence, and thanks for the opportunity for being in this great organization. And thanks to Oriol Iglesias. I've been through Global CCO too, and it was a great change in how perceiving the intangible management and reputation of the company. And I would like to say thank you to the company for the opportunity that it gives to professionals to join these companies that give us so much in terms of knowledge of our management tasks in our daily basis. We are 145 years old. We wouldn't be alive today if we didn't have a corporate brand, an important corporate brand. I've been in the company for 20 years, out of which the last 15 I've been dealing with communication. And the structure and how you build the corporate brand is thanks to people that have been working, to our founder 140 years ago, that have made out of brewery a very beloved and admired company, and that generates a great trust among all our lobbies. Maybe we are speeding it up, we are professionalizing it, we are making it tangible, but it has been born out of an entrepreneur spirit, and with companies that have been respectful with the environment, and the companies are part of a social ecosystem. We are part of society, and we need to be thankful to society and consumers that are giving us so much on a daily basis, and in some way we only have to pay them back. In DAM, we say it as follows. The company, especially in Catalonia, where we have developed and we have had a stronger leadership position, besides everything that has to do with international scale, we are not called DAM in Catalonia. They call us the DAM. Where do you work? At the DAM. Where are you going? I'm going to the DAM. Who's going to help you? The DAM is going to help me. So this article that could seem useless means a lot for everybody that works at the company, and it's a legacy that has been given by many generations, and it is our responsibility to keep on working on it and to build it. Now in 2021, in managing the corporate brand, we have like two big axes. For example, the corporate brand generates trust. To generate trust in a consumption market generates business. In the end, we work for the business. We have our shareholders, and the company has growth goals. And we have taken our corporate brand up to the last point in trust generating, as a trust generating brand. And another relevant aspect in the corporate brand is the shield, the protective shield that we could have. How helpful it can be to have a solid brand when you have a crisis. How lobbies can help you when you have a crisis. How willing these lobbies are when you're going through a crisis. And it is in crisis times when the corporate brands assume how important it is to have a good management on a daily basis, and when the chairman understands our work. And when building the corporate brand, in our case, we have two important aspects that we work on. First of all, we have flexibility. That is, it's not the same to have the planet, the world, society. It's not the same today as 140 years ago. It's necessary to have a great adaptation capability to see what's happening in society. So you need a flexible brand. It has already been said, a brand that has this listening capacity. The most important things that we put on the table The most strategic ones are the materiality researches that we deal with, and we like to listen. We like to listen what society and our lobbies are expecting from a brand like them. And this is what we're working on. And last but not least, to build a corporate brand, a relevant and important corporate brand, we need to think of the sector. I mean, we need to be able, if we deal with intangibles, we need to be able to bring efforts together in the industry so that the sector has a very powerful brand, well considered, a trustworthy brand that conveys safety, confidence, and that people understand that it is close to people, because sometimes it could happen that you're working on a sector like, for example, brewer sector. As you were saying, we fill people with happiness and the world, and we generate moments of social interaction. But if we have a crisis in the sector, of course, it will affect us. And we need to be generous. We need to make an effort, and we need to give generosity and time to work for the corporate brand of the sector. Thank you very much, Federico. I don't think that there's another example of what corporate excellence is. We've asked Santander and we've asked Daniel from CaixaBank. I'm sure that they're all fighting to gain customers. I see Tony from BBVA sitting down there, but here we're sharing expertise, good practices. I would ask you, just to close the roundtable, what trend are you seeing in the corporate brand world? You are dealing with transmedia contents. I mean, how do you see the future of the corporate brands? What trends are you seeing? Give us something for the ones that go through the course in 1 or 2 years' time to understand it. Well, first and foremost, I would like to say congratulations to Corporate Excellence, the training that we've been dealing with, Corporate Excellence with ESADE. I'm participating on it this year, so I encourage you to participate. We have finished with the first module, and congratulations, because it's really interesting, really intense, and we'll learn a lot of things. And speaking about where we come from, the CaixaBank brand, and where it's heading to, well, during the last decade, it has been a decade where we've seen a great restructuring of the financial sector, where CaixaBank has been an important stakeholder. We have merged with almost 10 entities, and the challenge that we've had during these years has been to consolidate the brand, to guarantee that the brand can live with its values, with its intangibles, as strong as ever. And during a period where the consumer has dramatically changed its consumption habits and its role and its way to approach the bank with more interaction of the digital side, in which the way to talk to their bank has changed dramatically. They used to go to the office, and now they are doing everything through the iPhone or through the digital banking. And that has made the entities to make their best to guarantee that the brand is still strong and solid. And for the future, well, I wish I was a psychic, but we have two reflections. Speaking from the CaixaBank point of view, we have just finished merging with Bankia, with a branding change that started at the beginning of the year, but with a technological integration that was over 2 weeks ago. And now one of the big challenges that is on the table is to guarantee a differential positioning that is well anchored in key aspects like, for example, closeness, social commitment, innovation, in order to guarantee that the consumer understands what our positioning is and what we're offering at a values and intangibles level. On the other hand, the goal is really important for us, and we think that it has to help generate a positive environment, not only a positive meeting with a CaixaBank brand, but with the bank role, so that it allows us to explain what the bank role is in society and why we're working for it. What's our contribution to society and our future forecast, and how we want to build a stronger and a progress society. And thirdly, being in the transmedia and contents area, well, today the consumer is increasingly, I mean, they do not believe what brands say. So it is key to find territories that allow us to tell some contents that are key, that are fair, and as the other round table was saying, they have to be honest and accurate, because this is what will allow us to tell stories to the consumer. We have stories that we have to offer and that we have to tell them, and to relevant and to be notorious with our consumers. And this will allow us to grow on the mid and long run. Okay, thank you very much, Daniel, Fede, Enrique. I think that your contributions have been really interesting. And Saida, we will have you here back. We'll have you back here. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Rafa. Pues la verdad es que yo
Thank you very much, Rafa. I'm really happy to see you all this morning. Thank you very much. We're now going to move on to the next roundtable, ESG and responsible business. We're going to talk about shared value creation with all the groups of interest, how this is associated to sustainability, how important it is to manage social, economic, environmental aspects, all these elements that are so important for the companies of the future. Without further ado, I'm going to give the welcome to Antoni Vallabriga, Global Head of Responsible Business of BBVA. He will be the moderator. We're going to have Denise Blanca Amores, Social Impact Manager of SMX from Mexico, online. We also have Fátima Rojas, Corporate Director of Sustainability and Studies of Grupo Red Eléctrica España. We also have Susanna Pasada, who is responsible for institutional and RSE communication, Leroy Merlin, and another warm welcome to José González Campo, Senior Director of Sustainability of Senior Director Multiversiones. This company has become a supporter company from Latin America this year. So without further ado, you have the floor.
Bueno, buenos días.
Good morning, everyone. This roundtable is focused on ESG and responsible business. I would like to congratulate you on your anniversary. My friend Angel, I remember in May 2005 we met each other, and we were very lucky to be able to work with him. I learned so much from him. I've continued learning from him. So, Saida, Clara, Angel, I think you can feel very proud of what corporate excellence is, of what you have achieved, this knowledge co-creation lab. We're using a language nowadays that we didn't have 10 years ago, methods, tools. So in summary, a knowledge that we've all created together. So you have many reasons to be very proud. I'm going to be moderating this session. I hope it is dynamic as the previous roundtables. We have different professionals in these companies that are specialized in responsible business and in ESG. What are the main progress in these topics within these companies, and what are the challenges that lie ahead? I'm going to ask each one of our guests to speak for about 3-4 minutes, and then I will take the last intervention. We have Denise's intervention from CEMEX. It has been recorded, and she's going to be sharing with us her vision from CEMEX with regard to this matter. It is a pleasure for me to be here to celebrate this 10th anniversary of corporate excellence. It is an honor for me to be part of this ecosystem of knowledge that is growing and strengthening capabilities with regard to intangibles. My name is Denise Blanca. I'm Social Impact Manager at Themix. For those of you who don't know Themix, it is a global company of construction materials offering high quality services. Our purpose is to build a better future. This is part of a strategy, our operations, and especially in our corporate culture. We have integrated social impact in our strategy. We did this 25 years ago. We try to focus on value brought forward by our services. We want to improve the welfare and the quality of life of our society. We focus on 4 axes that strive to improve capabilities towards employability, also with regard to resilient structures, mobility. We also seek innovation and social entrepreneurship, and we try to strengthen our brand and reputation. To be close to communities is essential. Through these 4 action axes and our community relations programs, we create these guidelines associated to our global strategy, but also adapting locally to be able to respond to the needs of each community. We are also committed towards the United Nations. We want to contribute towards the 2020 goals. We have been committed towards 5 priority goals to be able to create business opportunities for CEMEX. The 2030 agenda is a framework of reference with regard to ESG, to have a common language to boost multi-actor participation is related to sustainability. SDGs and the 2030 agenda have very ambitious. We want to collaborate with all parts of society to be able to fulfill a systemic approach. We need to communicate. We need to share best practices. We need to share our expertise to be able to scale our efforts, and through the integration of also experiencing social impact, regardless of the area where we work, is how we're going to build a better future for all of us. Denise from Mexico, Cemex. After this, we will listen to Fátima Rojas, Red Eléctrica Española, so she can share her insights. Thank you very much. I would like to add my congratulations, Ángel, Saida, Clara, all the team. We're a recent member at Corporate Excellence, but during this time, we felt this close support, the excellency of this team. And hearing today's session, I think neither of us 10 years ago could conceive a session such as this one, an event such as this one with so many companies. You've asked me to talk about sustainability. I am fortunate enough to belong to a company, Red Eléctrica, which also has a business in the telecommunications sector with satellites, optic fiber, but we focus mainly on the electric business. We don't have nothing to do with the high electricity prices, but we have strong responsibility with regard to having a safe supply and clean supply of electricity. It is a huge challenge. Within my company, we try to be as responsible as much responsible as possible. We have clear sustainability and social responsibility purposes. In 2017, our board of directors approved a sustainability commitment integrated with a vision that we had to prepare for quite some time. We had to study global challenges. We had to listen to stakeholders. We had to reflect on our potential contribution. In those days, we announced our goals for 2030 and we aligned all the business areas. We've been one of the first companies to create a committee on sustainability within the board. This has been lucky, and also it comes with a strong responsibility. We're talking about cross-cutting areas, and I was talking to my colleague about this. We have to act as drivers, as in some cases prophets, trying to anticipate what is going to happen. And then at the same time, we can be the uncomfortable part, requesting commitment towards this purpose. In Red Eléctrica, within our capital, we have more than 45% of socially responsible investors. We also have funding that is more and more ecological. We are very active with regard to gender equality. We have a female president. We have parity within our board of directors. And all of this is felt, is visible. Recently, a study from the Spanish stock market was published with regard to the importance of Spanish companies and their contribution towards SDGs. Future challenges. I'm optimistic. I think that today's event is associated to this spirit. We are here, we are boosters, we are drivers, we have to face difficult challenges, and we have to fight for climate. There's a lot to do. It is a huge challenge with regard to supply chain, supporting SMEs, so that we are all fighting in the same direction. And also with regard to the S in ESG, social aspects. We cannot do this without leaving others behind. We have to be fully committed towards the social aspect of ESG. Thank you very much. Thank you, Fatima. We'll now move on to Susanna Pasada, who's responsible for institutional communication at Leroy Merlin and ESG. Thank you. Thank you very much to Angel and all his team. Apologies because I've got a small cold. It is not COVID. I've just taken a test, just so you know. Precisely 10 years ago, we created the social responsibility area. This has been very important for us. It has meant the integration of sustainability within the value chain of the company. Starting with basics, we defined our strategy. We did this jointly with a group of 100 employees. Due to the HR philosophy that we have at the company, the independence and autonomy of our employees is essential. And for this, we need to collaborate towards the strategies of the company. This turns us into shareholders, and it allows us to work in a almost franchisee system. If we want workers to be committed towards these goals, we have to convince them that this is good for them, for their day-to-day. After more than 10 years, we are very proud with the results we've achieved. We've just elaborated the second program. It is the second time that we integrate sustainability as one of the main aspects of this plan. And with regard to the future, challenges are to digest the legislation that is here, how to interpret it, especially with regard to listed companies. We are not listed, but also this is important for SMEs and the business fabric of Spain, how to integrate this in the short term, how to implement and adapt. This will oblige us to work with a cross-cutting approach. It is the way in which we work, but sometimes reality is more associated to silos instead of a cross-cutting approach. And the second challenge is associated to human rights and diversity. We cannot forget about the inclusion part. We are diverse, but we need to be capable of integrating this inclusion. When we're talking about culture, this means that we need to manage these internal changes. In larger companies, this is more difficult, I imagine. And to end, the third challenge is associated to decarbonization. When we're talking about reducing a 10% of carbon footprint in a certain number of years, this comes associated to establishing a strategic plan, becoming carbon neutral, and we need to convince people that even if we're talking about a 2050 horizon that seems far away, either we start now or we're not going to make it. Thank you. Thank you, Susanna. I will now give the floor to José Manuel Fernández Campos from CMA. Thank you very much. Thank you to Corporate Excellence, to Ángel and his team. If you allow me, I think it is important to briefly introduce CMI and what makes us different. CMI is a family-owned business. We have operations in 15 countries, 40,000 collaborators with two main business areas. And this is why it is a complex company, an area of food, chickens, restaurants, etc. And then we have energy, renewables, and malls. So the challenge associated to this diversification of business areas is there. CMI has 100 years of history. A founder that came to Guatemala from Asturias, and legacy of four main values: responsibility, excellency, integrity, and respect. And we have tried to generate a new communication style, and this is what I was talking to Ángel about before, to talk about sustainability nowadays. And this is an important comment to make. It means at the same time, considering that it's our 100th anniversary, at the same time I feel young and there's still a lot to do. The challenge is that these values already existed within the companies, and we have to translate them into the language that is spoken by everyone, and this requires change, and this is what we're trying to generate, a true transformation. Take into account that I'm part of a project now within the area of public relationships. We had to turn this into something different, and as you can see, I was also part of the CCO Global Program. We all have different positions. We haven't been capable of agreeing on one single position related to these concepts. For us, corporate excellence has given us strong support, and we learnt a lot from corporate excellence. It has been a true model for us, and the challenge is to integrate all of this within our company. The business area is quite new, but at the same time we have a long experience. We try to do things properly. We care about people. Two main business areas. We focus on food, and we also want to generate corporate responsibility associated to capital. This is the challenge. This is what we're trying to do. This is what we're trying to reshape this corporate purpose so that we are allowed to think about why we do things, to maintain this unity, and at the same time, and then the main stakeholders also agree with us, our people have to be committed towards this and to be happy of working at a responsible, socially responsible company such as Theame. This is something that was mentioned before, but it allows us to make tangible aspects that are not tangible. And this is as simple as that. This is an important reflection that we have to do for those of us who have just joined corporate, and especially if we take into account the Latin American context. Many here in Spain are SMEs, are not listed, and it's not a romantic effort. We have to take the romantic part out of the equation, and we're talking about a true commitment. It is not associated to a stock exchange. It has to do with convictions, with principles, with values. In our case, we have been issuing ecological bonds, but in Latin America, the challenge comes hand in hand to this. It is a conviction. It is not about improving our value at the stock exchange. It has to do with transforming the way in which we work, the business that we do, and the people with whom we collaborate. Thank you very much.
Yo os compartiré también un poco.
In the case of BBVA, and as Maria Luisa was explaining, there has to be an acknowledgement. I have to have more influence on the organizations, and in these last 10 years, I've seen a clear evolution towards this, integrating responsible social business within the day-to-day activities. Transparency, integrity towards clients, many topics beyond just plain sustainability. For this reason, and I think some of you have heard about this, and instead of it's the how, not so much what, and there's been an evolution in the companies. In some places we have room for improvement. Sometimes it depends on what the board of directors asks from us, and these requests change depending on the level of maturity. At the beginning, you need to boost social programs, report to highlight the value of what has been done, and the main verb in that case would be communicate. And then there's an evolution, and they realize that you bring more value and you can use more opportunities, and then they ask you to help improve the company. This is sometimes more strategic, and it contributes in a more substantial way to the company. And then we can have the request of creating a responsible banking, social responsibility plan, and the main verb in this case would be to align. And then sometimes they consider that this is core, and it is the reason of existence of the company. And then the key word would be transform the organization. We've experienced this within the bank, and now we're focusing on value proposal, on strategy, and especially nowadays in the day-to-day. And then you can go to the board and you talk about the emissions of companies that belong to the utilities sector. This at the board of directors of a bank, and this is quite significant. There's been a true evolution. This is a process that we've undergone. And as professionals, we've realized that we need to change, we need to adapt to also what is expected from us. Professor Rubio at ESADE says, you're generating synesthetic at the organization. You're making things move within the group. Everybody's dancing to the same tune now. It took time, but now the challenges have to do with the fulfillment of these goals and unlearning some things that we've learned in the past. It is a professional challenge. Our role is changing significantly, and the person who is responsible for ESG should adopt 3 approaches. There has to be the fulfillment of following up on the impact of our activity. These goals have to be integrated within the strategy. Then the second point would be definition of standards that should guide the company to be able to fulfill their purpose and to make sure that these standards are complied with. And then a third dimension that has to do with public positioning and promoting a change within the system. Large companies have the responsibility of participating in this new architecture that has been generating. The banking sector is an example, and this means that our position is key in the long term and with regard to redefining the system. These functions will be associated to this specific business area, associated to different interest groups. Our CEO a few months ago said that responsible business guarantee the fulfillment of purpose, and we have to take this to the limits. I hope this was useful. Thank you for sharing your experiences with all of us, and let's continue with the event. Thanks.
Muchas gracias, Tony. Bueno, pues este viaje ya casi llega a su fin. No sin...
Okay, so we're almost finishing, and we're going to speak about one of the levers to boost corporate brand and reputation as communication is. Communication allows us to have all the value that organizations build and to build narratives around our capitals. So now I'd like to welcome Miguel Lopez Quesada, who is a corporate manager of communication, marketing, and institutional relationships of Gestam, and is going to moderate this roundtable about communication and reputation. We will have Luisa Agi, communication manager in IKEA. So she is in Sweden, and she will be with us on a video. We'll have Jose Guerra, who is the communication and reputation manager of ABAR, Josep Maria Mirmi, manager of institutional relations and corporate reputation at Abertis, and Enrique Rodriguez, external communication manager at CEPSA. So I think that this is almost ready, and I invite you to join me at the stage. Thank you.
Bueno, pues muy buenas tardes ya.
Well, good afternoon. Let's see if we can speed it up a little bit, because I think that one of the topics that I would like to highlight out of everything that we've seen during this day is something that has to do with the growing roles that we are assuming in the communication area and the 1,200 professionals that are part of my association, the association that I chair, the STEERCOM. Of course, we congratulate corporate because we are part of its board of trustees, and well, many of our founders are the ones who made it to the ones that helped when it was created 20 years ago. And today, we can't have Luisa Ayu with us because she is developing one of these new areas that we assume, and this is the institutional relationship area. Lobby, the communication with many stakeholders that have a regulation, a political component, and the goal of setting the agenda for our companies. Luisa is today on a travel. I couldn't attend there with the King of Spain and King of Sweden. It is one of the tasks that we are increasingly doing. So first of all, I would like to watch Luisa's video, and we can start talking in a minute. So please, let's watch the video first.
Muchísimas gracias por invitarnos a IKEA y a mí.
Thank you very much for inviting IKEA and myself to celebrate this 10th anniversary. We're part of Corporate Excellence and we're very proud. I would like to congratulate you on these 10 years, because these are called the golden years, where we learn everything. Everything's exciting, everything's positive. 10-year-old people love you, they adore you, and that's the moment that Corporate Excellence is going through, so let's enjoy it. Secondly, I would like to apologize for not being there with you. I'm enjoying the 0 degrees Celsius in Sweden, but I'm there in spirit. So what progress have we seen in reputation and communication? I think that the first progress that we've seen is that evolution, how we are moving from managing communication to manage reputation, to be in counting to doing. I think that's a great challenge, the great work ahead of us. We have set the first foundations, but there's a lot to do, and I'm sure that we will do a great work. We've seen the academic corpus, and corporate excellence plays a key role with this. We need to consolidate that growth, we need to consolidate that knowledge, and we need it to be public and accessible, so that we need to grow as other disciplines are growing in the business or enterprise world. What challenges we have? I was saying this a minute ago. One of the main challenges would be to consolidate this evolution. Communication will always be important. It's part of who we are as human beings. But as professionals, we aspire to have an influence on facts and reputation and managing how we behave, bodies, companies, etc. And I think that that's the main challenge. Another big challenge is to set a hierarchy, how we can give importance to what's important and to remove importance to what's not. I think that we will purify that and fine-tune that as time goes by, but we need to put the focus on what is important. Another important aspect is simplicity. Will we be able to convey reputation and communication from simplicity without losing accurateness and technique? This is one of the topics that interests me the most, how we can make things simple, and how and our society is increasingly complex and sophisticated. How can we make difficult things easily? And one of the most important things is the influence. This will help us keep on having an influence to have a better society, to have a clear purpose. And we need to put our focus there. How we can help them know, how can we activate, how can we make this happen. Thank you very much.
Muy bien, pues yo creo que nos da un pie perfecto.
Well, I think that now we're going to listen to the opinion that we have here, but I think it's important to get started. Let's get started by you. Thank you, Jose. Hello, good afternoon. Yep. So, well, congratulations, first of all, on everything you've done during these 10 years. Thanks for being there when we've had a need. You're always there in order to share your point of view, both Angela and Angel's team. Thanks for that attention. And I think that during these 10 years, Well, the way has been really positive. We've had really valuable elements. We have put the intangible value at stake. We have been able to see that value percentage is increasing. And I think that encourages us all, because you have the communication manager figure that has this background, this relevance, and this importance, and we can request to have a communication at the governance bodies, and that's the case, by the way. Evolution has gone by that path. We are there. We are at the core of the company strategy. That would be the background of these last 10 years. I will stop a little bit in the pandemic. We know that this has entailed another boost, especially in terms of internal and external communication, relationship with the lobbies, and that point of consistency that internal and strengthened internal communication has entailed. And it's a way to touch that goal, in the case of Akbar, to improve the future that people have managing water and natural resources in a sustainable way. We can touch it, we can feel it, and we're looking for that point of trust. I think that we have already talked about that. Reputation is to fulfill commitments, and not fulfilling, not fulfilling with those commitments entails a worse reputation. I think that these realities are now in our mindsets, and when we heard that for the first time, it was like, but now it's totally natural. And this has to do with the fact that the intangibles are understood as tangibles. This is one of the key elements that we have heard during today's session. For the future, to keep on working and activating in a more agile way what this purpose is, we need to do this in the way we tell stories. Saida has said that we would be able to explain how communication explains our history. We would be at the story doing that, looking for relevant examples to explain what we do. In the end, it is a cultural change to touch many internal doors, so that everybody, every perimeter at the company, well, as Angel was saying before, that can see the need. And I think that there's combination process that gives importance to all this. Innovation is very important too. This is linked to the future. In our case, we had a meeting with our lobbies in June this year. It was very powerful as an event. We had 100 people connected on streaming. Of course, we wanted to work so that this was we had many people there. We wanted to give more visibility to commitments, to the adoption of these commitments, so that we can set shared roadmap with the other lobbies. Accountability, well, things that we all know from firsthand. PPP, of course. I love the roundtables because they're all transversally connected. To move on this governance of ESG so that we can explain better what we do. And I wanted to put that example of the lobbies meeting. And of course, we should look for alliances to generate trust. This trust generation needs to come from working all together, from the public or private point of view, administrations, etc. And I think that corporate is a good example of different entities coming all together, and it clearly shows that that's the spirit that we all show and that we all share. Thank you. Josep Maria? It's a real pleasure to be here and to be part of corporate excellence. We were speaking about organization. We had to assess these 10 years. Well, the intangibles are what has characterized these 10 years. And from the core corporate, it has been key witness, an active witness in acknowledging, systematizing, analyzing, and parameterizing, and experiencing and developing a great bunch of theoretical and practical materials that allow us to be here today. And during this time, Abertis has been part of the forum and corporate, Sorry that I have the old chip. And we've been witnesses of how important it is to develop this function in everything that has to do with a useful life cycle when proposing value creation. And we have had to evolve with society, with sensitiveness, with different sensitivities, with motivations of big and small groups, lobbies and not interested groups, really, to formalize, to legitimate our proposal, our value proposal. And well, in some capitals, when we have had to explain the future, I always say the future was yesterday, now we're getting started. This is exactly what's happening. And it goes through communicating about what we're able to generate at an intangible level. We like to use an image, maybe using an old concept, a total company, but I would like to highlight the fact that companies will have to pay attention in a conscious and proactive way in managing data capitals. The capital concept is very interesting because we all have it. We have the financial concept in our mind that we all understand, accounting and so on and so forth. But in some way what we are seeing and what we are living from Abertis is that we are heading towards an accountability that won't only affect financial capital. Of course, the environmental aspect has got into the room as an elephant, and we are trying to catch up, really. Reality has shown how urgent it is, but at the same time, we have to make things systematic, things that could seem a little bit more intangible or more abstract, as the pandemic has done with other topics. So a strategy, if we stick to communication, we're trying to focus on every single capital in order to relate them with all our lobbies. 3 very brief examples. For example, the natural capital that we've talked about a minute ago, Abertis Foundation of relay about the Mediterranean biosphere preservation. We are managing both sides of the sea, biodiversity, etc. And in social capital, for example, there's a project with UNICEF linked to the highway managers, the toll highways. And through this project with UNICEF, we are having an impact on vital security that children have beyond the business that they do. And last but not least, intellectual capital, we have the intellectual network of professorships that acknowledge talent of the PhD students and regular students that were working mobility and transport technologies. In some way, in order to communicate, you need to look for a discussion, you need to look for a speech, and the SDGs have been a great trigger element. But it's a circle, it's not a line that goes through, I mean, the intangible assets are managed and the impact that we have with the groups of interest. These elements are the ones that make this wheel, and these are the ones that we use to identify our possibilities, our opportunities to interact, to relate with the lobbies beyond our customers, as every company does. If there's no communication, there's no reputation. If we don't communicate, we are underusing intangible resources, but in the tangible world, it would be a scandal when we have machines to develop processes. In our case, we do not have this, but it's good that we start to have some concerns. positive concerns in order to try to take advantage of these resources, that we know that they are active, they are intangible, and it shows our responsibility after identifying them. We need to put them in value, both for the company and for society. And just a last remark. Another reason for joy, as an engineer, I'm interested in the hows. It has to do with the how. And the good news is that during these 10 years in the corporate framework and other brother organizations, we have a great corpus, theoretical and scientific and practical corpus, with handbooks. It's an important networking structure with global CCO training, etc., that is at everybody's disposal, and it is an important element for us. It is not weird that it's a model for other countries, because it allows us to land everything that we are saying. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you very much, Enrique. Yeah, thank you, Miguel. I would like to say congratulations to corporate, to Angela. You're doing a great job. You're the most similar thing to a coach. If we were the voice of society and companies, you are our Mick Jagger. You are helping us a lot, and I think that speaking about evolution, we've seen that everything that we've seen in terms of reputation, evolution, etc., this has gained momentum at companies, and we have become into Jedis when improving our communities and the world. Without them knowing it, we send different guidelines to the board of directors, board of trustees, to make this world into a better world. And in the case of CEPSA, in that transformation path, we have seen the green SWIFT, and we have created an ESG committee through which we filter all the big decisions made by the company. This committee has Teresa Mañueco, for example. I think that many of you know her. And that's it, Miguel. Thank you very much. Thanks for being brief. I'll be very brief to try to finish on time.
Una organización que se llama Gestam, que es una empresa familiar.
I represent a company that's called Gestam. It's a family company, and this is the first thing that makes us be aware of our goal. We are born because we want to do something, and something that lasts beyond the moment we have to manage. So intrinsically, a family company is a long-term company. Secondly, we come from the automotive sector and mobility sector. Well, it's a sector that is totally present in our lives, although it's clearly a sector that it is disrupting. But we are a B2B sector. We are the ones that manufacture cars that have the brands that others have. We do not sign our products. So it's difficult to have this social acknowledgement through a company that doesn't sign its products. And you, for example, you see 75% of the added value of what a car generates is generated by a company like mine that generate the components. Sorry, we like 75% of cars have our components, but nobody knows that. And the first ones that need to know that are the ones that are inside. We need to know that what we do is worth it. We are trying to create a lighter mobility, a more sustainable and safer mobility that protects us, because we are manufacturing different chassis and structures that could weigh like 1/3 of the vehicle. Everything that we do is relevant in the world we are. This relevance makes us be more important, and we are in the political, regulation, social, economic agenda, etc. In our case, we generate more than 45,000 works all over the world. So some components that are being tackled today are in our DNA. And if you combine that with crisis, I think that when the communicator really vindicates himself is when the crisis comes along. Not only in my sector or in my own company, we have a plant in Wuhan, you know, where all this got started. We lived this from December. We lived this in March or April. In our case, in December, we knew that something was going on because we were managing it. But the crisis is the moment of truth for many companies, for people. As a future challenge, well, you've talked, and the CMI representative has said so, we will be called in different ways. We will perform functions that won't be the same. We will deal with areas that maybe are some kind of Frankenstein. This is the reputation construct Frankenstein, the intangibles construct. Nobody will own any of these parts if we are not able to make this Frankenstein become into a human being. And that human being is what unites us all. So beyond titles, functions, organizations are people. And what is a challenge is that these people are better professionals. At DIRCOM, we say, we not only come, but also we need to be better directors, people able to manage these intangible assets in a professional way that contribute value. If we are able to do this, these years will only be the beginning of a very long history, but it's a very young work and a very young career, but with a great future. Thank you very much to my colleagues, and thank you very much to Corporate for this opportunity. Thank you.
No os asustéis, subo aquí, pero en el programa dice...
In the program, there's just a closure, so I'm not going to draw any conclusions. We're doing this in a kinder way. We have Marina here, who is going to transform what we've been saying, what being shared, into infographies, illustrations, images. Talking about understanding, one thing has to do with the Spanish wine that is awaiting us, and the small cocktail, and also the concept of assimilation has to do with thanking you, with inviting those of you who are not part of corporate to join us as consultants, professionals, academics, to this movement, the revolution of reputation and intangibles. Without further ado, thank you very much. I would like to just make one last comment. At the beginning, we said we're in a celebration in Canada and the US and other countries were celebrating Thanksgiving, and today it is also the World Day of fight against gender violence. This is one more challenge that we take on. Thank you very much.
Vamos a contar la razón por la que nos levantamos cada mañana para ir a trabajar. En Corporate Excellence compartimos un sueño: crear un mundo mejor a través de organizaciones más responsables y auténticas. Nuestro propósito es aprender y compartir lo que sabemos a través de análisis avanzados, programas de formación y encuentros entre los grandes profesionales de nuestra red. Y aunque el camino es largo, llevamos más de 15 años caminando. Y podemos decir orgullosos que nuestro ecosistema de conocimiento sobre la gestión de los intangibles es único en el mundo. Somos un equipo de mentes curiosas, siempre atentas a las nuevas tendencias y las mejores herramientas de trabajo para avanzar juntos hacia una sociedad más justa centrada en lo que realmente importa, es decir, las personas. Estamos totalmente convencidos de que gestionar de manera excelente los intangibles pasa por colocar a las personas en el centro de las decisiones que tomamos. Creemos que la sostenibilidad de un proyecto empresarial depende del valor social que éste sea capaz de crear. Queda mucho trabajo por hacer, pero por suerte no estamos solos. Contamos con la ayuda de los profesionales de nuestras empresas miembro y de nuestra red de expertos, universidades, escuelas de negocio y consultoras. Sin ellos, Corporate Excellence no sería posible. Sus ideas y la calidad de su trabajo nos motiva y nos ayuda a crecer. Juntos, nuestro sueño tiene mucho más sentido. Estamos ayudando a construir empresas más responsables que conviven en un mundo cada vez mejor.